we're seeing, like I said, very good results here on EQT and Expand Energy so far, and our two favorite names. We continue to hold those, and if there were to be any sharp pullback, would add to those names on the gas side. But long term, the fundamentals for natural gas remain in place, and that's what we talked about Monday is going to drive the long term fundamentals for natural gas. Even though we're well below $3 today, the long term fundamentals between LNG exports, AI data center demand, and just onshoring industrial production will be positive for the natural gas price fundamentals.
Yeah, it's funny you said that about about the closing the wells and having to store stuff. It made me think of COVID, and I was really long tankers into COVID, and I just was checking while you were talking. The tankers are trading pretty well, actually. I was looking at
Mm-hmm.
Scorpio and TK and Frontline, all those guys, and I guess the difference being the reason we got out of those things was a buddy of mine who was an oil guy back then. He's like, look, I just don't see the whole industry of energy getting its ass kicked and tankers being the place that they're making all the money. And that ended up being how it was before it finally played out. But do you do you think that we're in a situation where we talked, I don't know when the last time I was on the show with you, but we talked about this cliff that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, Trump clearly said blockades continuing. I'm of the camp that the US wants the blockade, that I don't think Iran is actually in control. I think they're just like saying that Iran's in control because that's
Yeah.
convenient for them, but they actually want to stick it to a bunch of guys.
Yep.
And like basically, where are we relative to that cliff? Like because we're going to talk about eggs in a second with bakes, and that's one of the trades that, and I'm not an eggs guy, but we had a eggs expert who used to run Bunge's and Smithfield's trading desk, and that seemed like one of the natural, plays from the fertilizer and all that stuff. Bob, how close are we to that cliff? And I know it's different for different countries, so
I
it's
mean, I mean, I
not
think
one
we're
universal.
30, 60 days away from that cliff, and I'm looking out here at the December, January contract. We're still 78, 79, still below $80. That's continued to creep up a little bit. Obviously, not as much as the front month. So we're still in this very sharp backwardation on the curve. But you're probably 30, 60 days, just given how long it takes for these cargoes that did get through the Strait of Hormuz, that were on the water, getting to their destination ports. Once that happens, and then there's nothing behind that, you're 30, 60 days away from that cliff.
Okay. Okay. All right. Kevin, what do we got today? Let's talk.
I've got, and this came out of my work this past month going through 5,000 plus charts. But we talked about this a little bit before, but now I think it's coming to fruition. This is the Invesco DB Agricultural Fund. I think that's probably Deutsche Bank, right? DBA, and this is a fund that owns the futures of frankly almost all the agricultural products, but corn, cattle, and soybeans, like the softs you talked about, is the top probably 30% of the portfolio. But just look over here. I hope you can see it. The in the bottom right, the blue lines are swamping the pink lines. So this is clearly under accumulation. You get the 50-day coming above through the 200. You get a relative new high that is just taking place, and everything kind of makes sense given the fertilizer situation that the Strait of Hormuz exacerbates. Costs for farmers everywhere are going up, and they're going to pass it along. And there's only so much substitution you can do. And so I have not bought this yet, full disclosure. I'm still doing some work, but and I mentioned before I was getting positive on ags, and now I'm getting more positive on ags, and I'll let you know when I pull the trigger and add this to my top 10 ETFs. I own 9 now, and I've got space for one. So I'm looking at this hard, but this makes intuitive sense to me. So I'm paying attention.
Hey, Banks, you mentioned the fertilizer situation. Is it also this, excuse me, supposed drought or water shortage we've had, the dry winter we've had in the Midwest, part of the factor here too?
Yeah, I mean, when it rains, I was going to say when it rains, it pours. That's another way to go. The farmers are in a world of hurt.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, so between you get a lot of things come together, and when they do, this is a relatively illiquid market, and it's you're going to see a lot of upside pressure, I believe. So yes, that's part of the problem.
Hi, I'm David Maris. If you like what you just heard, we've tracked every single pick we make on the show, every ticker, every thesis, every entry price, over 1,100 picks and counting. We put it together in a free report with our top 10 performers, the reasoning behind each one, and a preview of our full dashboard. If you want access, the link is in the description.